Hey everyone, welcome back. Randy here for Go Midwest Fishing. If you've been following along, I got this new camper this year and I've been trying to set it up for off-grid camping. So far I put 400 watts of solar on the roof and I got a 280 amp hour lithium battery from Redodio. And together those have been working great. I've camped up to 7 days now without any problem and plenty of power. Now when you're camping off-grid, you're running off the battery. So everything that's 12 volt powered will operate. Well, I got a few items in this camper that run on AC voltage, and the only way to get those to work is to install an inverter. So this here is a 2000 watt inverter from Redodio. We're going to be installing that today so we can run our other appliances while we're off grid. So now by going with a 2000 watt inverter, this should power just about anything you'd plug into a normal 15 amp outlet in your home. We're going to test it today to see what it'll power in the camper. It should power the microwave just fine. All the outlets should work. The air conditioner is going to be real close. That pulls real close to 2000 watts, so we're going to test that today. Now this is actually a very easy install. First I'll just show you the features on here and then how to hook it up, and then we'll test it out. Alright, so just starting out on the back side here, you just got your two connections. This goes to the battery, positive, negative, so you just got a post there. These nice little caps. Keep it safe. And you also see we got the cooling fans on the back. Not much going on this side, and then here's your front end. This is where everything happens. So you get 4 outlets, so you can just plug anything into there. This here is you can plug an actual wire into if you want to wire it directly into your camper's power converter or to another outlet somewhere. Regular Romex wire can be connected right to this port. And then this has like a little telephone connector in here. This will go to this item right here. So a little close up. This is your inverter remote control. So you can install this anywhere you want inside your camper, so you can turn the inverter on and off without having to go where the inverter is. And then it's a couple little convenient USB-A and USB-C plugs there, and a power button. And of course you got the power on and fault lights there. So really that's all there is to it. You do have a little ground screw there, so we can also ground the case. Alright, before you install this in your camper, you have to make sure you have a battery that's capable of powering it. This draws a lot of power. I have the 280 amp hour lithium battery, and it's supposed to put a continuous output of 200 amps. So in order to get the 2000 watts out of here, you're going to need at least 200 amp continuous output. So I just meet that criteria. If you have, say, a 100 amp hour lithium battery, you might need to put 2 in parallel to get that output. It will run on just the one battery, but you may not get the full power output of this inverter. Next thing you know, it draws a lot of power. So here's the power cables that come with it. They're actually 2 cables put together in one end. So they're only about 18 inches long, so very short, heavy-duty cables. This has to be installed real close to your battery, which is going to limit where you can actually put it. Now, even though they have all these outlets in front, I was thinking, oh, I could just have it installed somewhere inside the camper just to plug into, but it's actually going to be down in front where I can't reach it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'll show you how you can plug it into your camper so it powers everything in here, so you don't need to access these plugs. But they're also there in case you're outside, you want to plug in some power tools, an extension cord, do something, run it directly off of here. You can do that also. All right, let's install the inverter. I just hooked the cables up to this. Give it a closer look there. Pretty simple. There is one end has a little bit bigger hole in it. I think it's this 5/16, and the other one's a little bit smaller. So make sure they go on the right end. They're labeled inverter and whatever the load on this end. And then I'll just put the little caps on it to protect it. Little caps here, they have, you can only go out the front. I had them a little bit slanted, so I have to just pull it around so it's a little more in the front so the cap will fit. Let's see if that'll work. That works better. Just take a 10mm wrench, fits on these nicely. Make sure they're nice and tight. There we go. So it's very simple install, just basically these 2 wires here. on the back, and then just a couple on the front. No big deal. All right, I'm going to show you where I'm going to install it. Now, in most campers, your batteries can be up front. Mine is in the little storage compartment here. All right, let's take a look inside the storage compartment. Like I said, most batteries are right up front there. I move mine in here, so there it is. You install it vertically or horizontally. This wall here, get a wider view of it. This is kind of very flimsy and only has a few spots where there's solid wood, like at the top, and then somewhere like right there, there's one piece. Being so heavy, I think I'm just going to put it right on the floor here. It's nice and solid. It'll hold the weight well, and I won't have to worry about it ripping the wall apart. Let's slide it in here and see how it looks. There we go. I think it'll fit nice. It's a little tight in there, so hopefully you can see everything. I got a bunch of wires already. There. Looks pretty good right there. Just screw it down right in the front here, 2 on each side. Should hold it nice and steady and nice solid floor. Now, I did have a lot of wires on my battery, so I'll show you what I did. I put a couple bus bars up there to hook all the other wires up to. And I'm going to hook this one directly to the battery terminals because we don't want it going through all those wires. It comes with 4 nice screws, so just screw it down. That's all there's to that. Nice and solid. All right, there you go. Screws in there, nice and tight. Shake it to move. All right, now it'll basically work as is. It'll turn on, but I want to hook up the remote starter for it to turn it on and off, and then also hook up the ground wire. All right, so this is the remote, and give you a closer look here. You see you got to cut a fairly wide hole in somewhere in your camper to install it flush. Otherwise, there's a surface mount you can get for it. I think I'm just going to mount it flush so it looks good, as I don't plan on taking this out. And you got a nice long cord here. I'll have to wrap it up and around. So I'll figure out where I'm going to put this, cut the hole, and then install this. And then we have a ground wire. So this here is just an alligator clip, and the negative of the battery is grounded to the chassis of the frame, so I can just clip this right to the negative side. A little screw right here for the ground. There we go. All right, just make sure it turns on. Got a green light, no faults. All right. We will leave that off for now while we hook up the other controller. So I'll just plug it in there, run a wire up and around, and I'm going to put it somewhere right in there. On mine, I got this little kind of outcropping here, so it's hard to get in there. So I think I'm doing it right beside it. So let's go inside and mark it out. All right, now for the hardest part of this whole thing, installing the inverter remote. So it's got a pretty big area here, so we have to cut it into the wall. So I lifted up the bed there, and what you can see here is this is actually a double wall. So you got this wall, and then there's another wall right here. So it's actually, about 1.5 inches thick. So I think if I look at it right, this won't quite protrude out to this wall. So I'll just cut a hole in this one right here, and then just a small hole in the back to run the wire through. So it's just a matter of lining it up and tracing out where I want it. Probably down a little so the bed sheets don't cover it. I like that the bed here lifts up so I can look at both sides at the same time. Now you can get technical and get a nice level and everything and measure it out, or you can just eyeball it. Make sure there's nothing. Yeah, it's pretty hollow in there, so shouldn't be able to hit anything. I'm just going to trace it out with a marker and cut it out. Nothing like cutting up a brand new camper. There we go. Looks pretty straight to me. Look at that. Now I'm gonna use the Dremel. Just cut along there. Just pop out that first layer. Here we go. Hey, it works. Look at that. Now the cable comes right out in the bottom. So we'll just make sure, make the hole just below the bottom part. Booyah, there's our hole. All right, I'm gonna thread the wire there, clip it in the bottom of here. Put it back in. Now it came with 4 little bitty screws. I can just screw this panel on and then we're done in here. It's just going into really thin paneling. So don't over tighten it. If you want, you can put a little backer in there, but this thing doesn't require a whole lot of strength. So, all right, there we go. Just simply plug it in. Maybe. It's dark in here. Get the right side. There, she clicked in. And then I'll need to secure this up nicely, up and around. But for now, we're just gonna put it out of the way just so we can test it out and make sure it works. All right, we're about ready to turn this thing on. I'll show you how to plug the camper in. Basically, you just take your power cord from your camper and plug it directly into the inverter. So before we do that, there's one very, very important thing you gotta do. So if we just plug it directly in, your camper is gonna run the inverter. It's gonna power your converter over here, which is just gonna, in turn, go back and try to charge your battery. So it's basically your battery trying to charge your own battery, and it creates this feedback loop, but you can't have it. So if you open up your panel here, what you're going to want to do is turn off your converter. So let's take a closer look. And right here is our AC circuits. So you can see circuit 1, so you got your main breaker, and then you got circuit 1, which is your air conditioner. Circuit 2 is your converter, if you can see that. And then circuit 3 is your receptacle, circuit 4 is your microwave. So we come up here, here's our circuits. So the main is going to be your 30 amp circuit. That's going to turn on and off power to your entire camper. The 20 amp, that is going to be your air conditioner. Go down here, so that's branch 1. The air conditioner runs a higher load, so that needs 20 amps. The rest are 15 amps. So right after air conditioner is your converter. So that's this one here. So I'm going to flip that one off. Now it shouldn't try to charge your battery when you're using the inverter. But it should make everything else run. All your outlets and all the appliances should run now off your inverter or the battery, and it shouldn't create the feedback loop anymore. So let's go plug it in and see if this thing works. All right, just grab your power cord. Make sure it's plugged into the camper. Bring it around to the front. You'll need your little 15 amp adapter on there to be able to plug into those outlets. And you just plug it directly in. It's not on, so I can just plug it in. Nothing should happen. Let's go test this out. All right, if I read everything correctly, this should work. I've never done this before, so let's turn it on and see what it does. Important to note is make sure you have all your loads and everything turned off before you power this up. You don't want to like kick on and immediately have to power something. So let's go over here. All right, we have a power button and a light button. So let's hit the power button. All right, that's good news. Everything looks like it's working fine. It shows you how much power's in your battery, looks like. See 13.3 volts at 22 degrees. And then it'll tell you your output. So right now we got 0 output. So my Rodeo battery has the Bluetooth in it also, and it tells you how much power there is. So it was at 99% when we started, so we'll check that in a minute. But first, let's make sure things work. All right, microwave has numbers on it. All right, we got to microwave something. See if it works. You don't want to start an empty microwave. What do I got in here? Anything I can microwave? All right, I'm gonna have to go get something to put in the microwave. All right, I got a nice little muffin here. Should only take about 15 seconds to heat up. So let's throw it in the microwave. Oh, it gets all thrown out of whack when you drive down the road here. Put it back. There we go. All right, let's throw our muffin in there. Let's say 15, well, there goes a minute. She's running. I hear the fan kicking on and the inverter. That's good enough. Let's pause that. There we go. Nice hot muffin. All right, let's try. Let's say we want some toast. Let's see, I got a toaster here with a butt end in it that I don't want. But let's plug it in and see if it's any kind of heating element type thing. It takes a lot of power, so let's see if it can handle this. Oh yeah, look at that. It's heating up. I feel the heat coming out. The fan's not even kicking on. You see it down there? The microwave made it kick on, but the toaster isn't yet. So this must draw less power. Yep, she's definitely warm, so that worked. So let's say the wife's along. She wants to blow dry her hair. Let's go into the bathroom and hook this up. All right, let's see how this thing works. Plug her in. These generally pull about 1500 watts, I think. That's low, high. All the outlets work. Microwave works. Now for the big draw item. We'll see if it can handle the air conditioner. All right, be prepared for it to pop. All right, first thing we're gonna do is just turn the fan on without the air conditioner. That's on high. All right, so this can handle a max of 4,000 watt starting load and then a continuous 2,000 watts. So this is gonna really push its limits. So let's go to the air conditioner. It's working. It's on max cold. Turn it on high. That's high air conditioner, max cold. Woo. Okay, I'm pretty impressed. That ran everything in here, even the highest draw item. Okay, one serious downfall though is it sucks a lot of juice. So if you're going to be camping off grid for any amount of time, you're going to want to invest in some serious solar power or just use these items momentarily, quickly. You just need to microwave something for 10 seconds or I would not run off the air conditioner. This here will run, according to the calculations, about 3 hours before your battery is completely dead. So speaking of which, let's check out our Rodeo app and see what our battery's doing. It's still saying that it's 99%. The air conditioner it's supposed to be off for like 2 or 3 minutes before you turn it back on. But let's see, let's turn the microwave back on and see what kind of power draw it says. There you go, 1700 watts. So it's kind of maxing it out, but well within the 2000 range. All right, we don't want to cook our thing too much there. Whoa, she's steaming. Woo-hoo, it's a hot muffin. Oh, that is hot. It's been long enough. Let's turn the air conditioner back on and see how much kind of draw that is. 14. It's actually less than the microwave. So about 12, let's say 1300 watts. I got the battery can do, it's like 3500 watt hours in that area. So again, yeah, it's just under 3 hours probably we could run this before the battery is completely depleted. Well, there it goes. It says right on there discharging. 2 hours and 57 minutes. That's 3 hours. Right about 3 hours it's saying before the battery's dead. But I guess if you're super hot and you just really need to cool off, you can run it. Now our inverter's remote down there basically tell you the same information, so let's go look at what that's saying. The air conditioner is running right now and it's saying it's pulling 1300 watts. And input's at 12.5 volts. It tells the temperature. And you can see our battery's already down 1 notch, so there you go. AC is 120 volts putting out. And this should turn on and off the light. There it is. Good job, inverter. You're working well. Well, there you have it. It'll run everything in the camper off-grid, not plugged into anything, just purely running off your battery. But again, if you're going to be running a lot of this stuff, make sure you put more solar on, or just, camp for a day or two and use it sparingly. All right, one last thing to note, it does take, I think, it says less than 9 watts of power just to have the thing turned on. So if you're not going to be using any of the AC outlets, make sure you just leave it off, and when you're ready to use it, turn it on, use your stuff, and then turn it back off. It's not a big draw, but over time, it can wear down your battery a little bit. Well, there you have it. I am super impressed and very happy with this setup. If you want to check out the Rodotio battery or inverter, I'll just link it down below. Check it out. I've been very happy with it. Everyone, hope this helped. See you again on the next video.